Welcome to our weekly wrap up. All right, here we go, June 1st.
We're bringing this to you guys from beautiful northern Alabama.
Yeah.
A little summertime rain. This is the greenest place I think we've ever been, next to Hawaii. It's very green.
Okay. All right, are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. Alex, I'm curious about foot health. Like, is there too many hours of standing in a day? Like, would too many standing hours degrade my health?
So let me talk from my nerd point, and then you can talk from Pilates instructor point. How's that?
Sure.
So Alex, like we kind of talked about yesterday, footwear, right? Footwear is very important when you're on your feet all day. And especially most of us, we grew up in like big, squishy Nikes, tennis shoes. So our feet are actually kind of just softer and weaker than what they're supposed to be. Good footwear, got to spend a little bit of extra money. My personal experience is I bought cheap shoes, I bought more expensive shoes. My body feels a whole lot better wearing the more expensive shoes. The cheap shoes, like knees, hips, ankles hurt. So yeah, and then also anti-fatigue mats. So since you're a baker, getting some kind of a nice...
She has them.
She has them.
I know
okay.
for a fact.
So if you're doing that and then good shoes, that
But
will
anyone else
help a
listening?
lot. Yeah, if you stand in place, even a sit-stand desk, you should have some kind of a anti-fatigue mat. I mean, Walmart or Home Depot, we got our last ones. Costco. An outdoor mat with a nice foam. And then changing your position. Put a foot up, stand around.
I think we also need to say too that, tennis shoes are very popular and people wear the chunky heels thinking that it supports your feet. And maybe some of you do feel better with the chunky heel, but it really puts you in almost like a high heel. We call them high heels. It's a high heel position.
They are.
Because it really is lifting your heel. It's like a platform. So if you were to switch from a chunky heel to a low profile heel, where everything is nice and straight, you might feel some foot pain. You're not used to it.
And the nerd term is heel drop, and anything above 0.07 millimeter is not like a neutral minimalist style shoe.
Yes.
And here's a test for people. We've had actually people like women with high heels and guys with their big squishy Nikes. They get mad. People get mad about their footwear. Like, what? These are great. Stand barefoot and just slowly raise your heels off the ground and watch all of the compensations your body does all the way to your head. That's how we are walking all day. We've done it most of our lives versus when you're flat. Yep. And a lot of people, they say, well, these big heels make me feel better because it's not natural for us to just be heel stompers all through our day and sending shockwaves, through up your back.
Yeah.
Our knees and ankles and hips are meant to absorb a lot of that, and our arches in our feet.
We're also meant to, when we walk, we're meant to almost grab the ground with our toes. So a lot of the times those big chunky shoes that are, also look at your toe box too. We're meant to be able to spread our toes in our shoes. And I don't know, Nikes, I have a really wide foot. I can never spread my toes in my Nikes. Anyway, so that's one thing to really be mindful of too. You want to be able to spread your toes. You want to do that a lot throughout the day. And when you're walking, you want to grab the ground with your toes.
Yeah.
You could even play around with going barefoot in the grass and just practicing that. Walking on sand is a fantastic way to get your feet a killer exercise.
You will
or a
feel
workout.
Sore muscles in your feet, which is not normal. The best description I've ever heard, and I think it might have been Mark Sisson, and he has a shoe company now, he said most of our lives we are wearing a cast. We're running through from the time, third, fourth grade, we're wearing a big cast, and we know what happens.
I'd say it's even sooner.
Yeah, we know what happens when you wear a cast. Things atrophy and shrink, they get tight. So we've been wearing casts. So it's good to go barefoot.
Yeah.
And Kim actually, she said, hey, my chiropractor recommended minimalist shoes. I ordered them. And I told her, I said, hey, most of those minimalist shoe companies all got massive lawsuits against them because they said, hey, wear these and it's going to fix everything in your body. And actually people got worse. They started running and exercises and jumping.
Yeah, because they went from wearing their chunky cast to barefoot minimalist shoes
Yes.
on trail runs and breaking bones in their feet.
Stress fractures. So,
Yeah.
and like I told her, I said, hey, wear them. Don't even go on a walk for them.
No,
when you
wear them
start.
around your
wear them
house.
around your house. You know, a couple hours at a time. If you're somebody who goes barefoot often, then you can go transition to those better.
Yes.
So build yourself up.
Yes. I
So-
also need
yeah.
to say something about flip-flops. Flip-flops are one of
Yeah.
the worst things for foot health. I know. I love flip-flops, but they're terrible. So if you are a sandal lover, get sandals that have the backs on them. Tevas are fantastic. And if you do flip-flops, just do them when you're not going to be walking a lot. So if you're going, I don't know, on a date and you're going to dinner and a movie, that would be fine. Flip-flops are fine, but not all day.
Here's another thing too: is when we are, if these are our feet, right? When we wear sandals, our feet turn outwards. We walk like a duck, and your arches collapse, and it causes ACL tears. So there's actually a lot of like pro level, NFL type basketball coaches, college, high level college, that when they're kind of screening athletes, they specifically women wearing sandals
Yes.
leads to more ACL tears.
Yes.
And if that is a question, and there's people out there that can figure it out. Like if you're an athlete and you wear sandals, your chances of getting an ACL tear are, I don't know exactly, 40-50% higher.
And that the dancer turnout too.
Correct.
I know a lot of my dancers, and I
Not
used
a
to
good
walk
posture.
like that too. Yeah. we
But then
used to-
dancers typically have strong feet and good arches though. So they kind of
Yeah,
compensate.
but they can, I think because too of their body awareness, they can
Yes.
really learn how to retrain
Yeah.
those neural pathways. Okay.
And people who walk like this, also rolling ankles is more common.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Okay, so going back to her, because we went on a shoe tangent, so are there too many hours in a day to stand?
that is very individual. Some people, it's almost like an endurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you start running a mile when you first start might be awful. 10 miles for some people in 2 months might be okay. Some people might be a year. So I think just for her, just listening to the body, doing all the things we just talked about.
Okay, so then would too many standing hours in a day degrade foot health?
It shouldn't.
No,
As long as
we're
we're
meant to
changing
stand.
position, standing in one place
Yeah.
and doing things repetitive. Like all of the grocery stores now, they all have check stands facing in, right? They have to rotate these people because the checkers that were standing facing this way all the time, they develop shoulder, wrist issues, right?
Sure.
And neck issues. So now they flip them. So standing in one place, machine operators that are just working a press all the
Yeah.
time,
Yep.
standing, and they all have to wear work boots, their knees and their hips
Yeah.
became problems. So
Yep.
varying your position, moving around, and just listening to your body. If you're on your feet for like 12 hours and you hurt the next day, then just take a little bit more breaks. But sometimes all you got to do is just go for a walk around a little bit, vary the position, maybe sit down for 5 minutes.
Maybe squat.
Maybe do some squats.
But even like that deep, hip squat where you're, I call it the primal squat or the burning squat. Yeah, like that. Kind of rolling your hips side to side on the floor. So changing positions is very natural.
Wherever you're feeling stiff. So if your ankles start to hurt, sit down, pick your feet up, do some ankle rolls, stretch your toes, move it around.
Spread your toes,
Yeah.
flex your feet.
Listen to
Okay.
the body is good advice. Good shoes.
Yeah, I know, but I really hate that listen to the body because no offense, but we have
And you're
been,
the Pilates instructor.
I never said listen. I mean, it was listen to your body. If you're injured, obviously we're not going to do it. We're going to work around it, all those fun things. But we have been conditioned and brainwashed to not listen to our body.
Yeah, to just push through things.
You push through, you ignore, you're way too distracted,
Yep.
and you don't really know how to listen to your body. So that's my 2 cents
Your
on
rant.
that. Okay, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, so Corey wanted to know what our thoughts are on posture correcting bras. So specifically, Corey has kyphosis. If you don't know what kyphosis is, it's the rounding of the upper back. It's, real tight chest, weak chest, and an overstretched back from, a lot of this. So
So the new term, they've already moved on because it's catchier. Tech neck.
yeah.
So kyphosis is now called tech neck. Sorry, bug in my face.
But Corey and I
Tech
like
neck.
to refer to it as her neck hump. And actually, a neck hump is actually a thing. So tech neck.
Non-scientific thing, but yeah, tech neck is the new thing. Forward head,
Yeah.
rounded shoulders, and then the other part they're saying is like young
stretch.
people that have phones too early, they're going to turn into T-Rex.
Yeah.
Their hands are turned in, their arms are shortened. So
No. Yeah, okay. Posture correcting bras, ankle protecting socks. Was looking at some online and decided not to spend the $160 and just keep doing the workouts that we have programmed, but curious about them and their legitimacy.
well, let's go back to the bra.
Okay.
So I don't know how much they are. Obviously, probably
She
expensive.
said 160.
That sounds ridiculous. Amazon, and Corey will send it to you. Amazon, and I used one for a while. Even at a standing desk, I would hunch over for a little bit. It's this strap, Velcro. You put it through the shoulders, across the back, and you Velcro it in front. And it would probably do the exact same thing, but
I
for a
would think
man. If you go to slouch, you
Because
just
they
feel.
were for men and women.
Yeah, they're for men and women. They're like $20. So that would be a much bigger bargain. But
Yeah.
sitting, so I don't know how much she can vary her position. Sitting
she
to standing.
can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's honestly a conscious thing. It's really hard. So that is when you round, it's putting pressure so you immediately realize that you're doing it. So
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
what I would recommend over that. I have never heard of an ankle protecting sock.
I haven't either.
I'd have to look at this.
All right, we'll get back to you
Corey,
on that.
send us the ankle protecting sock. We have no idea what those are.
Almost like compression, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if there's ankle issues, you just got to strengthen them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like what was that Greek guy?
who?
Who was the one with the bad ankle?
Achilles.
Achilles. Oh yeah, who? Okay, Verity. Any favorite summer hacks for cooking and standing over a hot stove less? Obviously, the goal is to eat fresh food, especially meat. You have to cook. Yes, you do. But in the summer, the stove and the oven is a burden.
Yep.
I'm a fan of the air fryer, the Instant Pot, and the grill.
And Matt needs to get his grill game going.
Grill
Yeah,
game. So,
Verity assigned Matt a couple times a week to cook.
heck yeah.
And
Oh,
I-
slow cooker. Did I say slow cooker? Air fryer, Instant Pot, slow cooker,
Yeah.
and grill. Yeah, that's my summer go-to.
Correct.
I use nothing else. And then I also do a lot of dinners of very simple, like coleslaw, fruit salad, burgers. That's it.
Yeah.
That's like a summer staple in our family.
Yeah, so barbecuing, especially the very hot days, if you guys are in Central California, 100 plus degree, you don't want to turn the oven on.
No.
But I would still say too is like cook your proteins maybe in bulk to where things will still taste good the next day. You guys all like if we cook chicken right, we would still eat the next day. Cold chicken, you like cold chicken?
Yeah, for lunches. But
Most-
dinners are sacred.
Most
Hey,
ground
no,
beef
you can
things.
be quiet now.
You can make ground beef
You
bowls.
can be quiet now.
No, thank you. Ground beef bowls the next day, a little bit of reheated ground beef.
That's no. Yes, but no. Dinner is sacred.
We know who the food snob is.
No, dinner. No.
Food snob.
Okay, carrying on. Moving on. Use your air fryer, your Instant Pot, your slow cooker, and your grill. Okay. Paul, how does one determine carbohydrate sensitivity without testing? I've seen stuff online about eating certain foods and using a saltine, and when it turns sweet, it determines carb sensitivity. Do these have credibility, or is it just influencer clout? Well, a couple things on that. So let's say, how does one determine carbohydrate sensitivity without testing? How do you feel after you eat a lot of carbs? Do you feel tired? That's one clue. Go ahead.
Paul, I love you, buddy. You got to stop being afraid of carbohydrates.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes, Paul. Paul, we're always bad at Paul. I need you to get a few like berries and listen. Pears, apples, berries are good for you. All of those people that eat majority of those all have better health, better overall weight.
Well, should Paul just what about if we said, Paul, why don't you stay away from anything white and beige? Which is,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Here.
Paul. I mean, that's, well, and a little bit of honey. So yes, your genetics do matter. There is one guy, and when Jess was showing me, she read the study. There's one guy, and he's a geneticist that's specifically talking about amylase, which is the enzyme. If you have more of it, you can tolerate more carbohydrates.
Yes.
So without doing genetic testing, you can tolerate more carbohydrates than I can, based off of your genetics.
Sure, but we'll get into that in a minute. So if you eat carbohydrates, how do you feel after? Again, this is the whole thing of listen to your body that we've never really honed in on, because we've been on diets our whole lives. And I know, Paul, you have struggled with weight his whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those sensors are all.
But also too,
disconnected.
just don't. There's the whole good and bad debate. Like, just don't eat processed carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Like, don't.
Okay.
Fruits.
You're fine. But how do you feel? You feel.
Well, no.
You will
Let's
feel
let's take
tired.
feeling out of it. Paul's very numbers based. Paul likes quantifiable. So Paul, here's how you can test yourself. Eat some carbs, and you can play around with them, like a sweet potato or white rice or fruit, and see what your heart and your pulse does. That's without doing insulin testing. Typically, when you eat things your body doesn't agree with, your heart rate will go up a little bit. Is number one. You can look at it. He has a nice, what's the Android watch?
Mm-hmm.
You can check your pulse.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel, like you said, do you feel tired?
Like you need a nap.
Do you feel like you need a nap? And specifically around lunchtime.
Yep.
People seem more carb sensitive in the morning.
Yep.
Or at lunch.
Yep.
You specifically,
I need
like
a nap.
like in the middle of the day.
Yep.
That's how we can do that stuff without worrying about testing and
Yes.
continuous
Yes.
glucose monitors.
For sure. Okay, now we're going to get into the study. This is very cool. I heard about this years ago and totally forgot all about it. So I'm so glad you mentioned the saltine test. So there's a study a few years ago, like 2017 or 18. This geneticist calls it the cracker test. He had people take like a bland cracker, a saltine, and start chewing on it, and it was on a timer, and they had to write down the time in seconds that it started to become sweet. So if you started to notice things, the saltine cracker turning sweet between 15 and 30 seconds, what he found was you can tolerate more carbohydrates. If it took 30 seconds longer or never turned sweet, you are very carb sensitive and should not eat a lot of carbohydrates.
You should eat a low carb diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to do this, but at that time I was so afraid of carbs, I would not eat a saltine. I'm going to do it though.
Yeah, we should, because you and I have done the genetic testing, and that would tell. So, okay, you can eat more carbs than I can.
So I'm curious.
We'd see what it says.
We should do it. I think everyone should do it. I think that might be a fun thing.
Yeah,
And
but
then-
here's what I don't want. I don't want people to do this and all of a sudden, oh, I can eat more carbs. Carbohydrates are fuel.
Yes.
If you sit, like the days where we drove 12 hours this way, right?
Yeah.
We didn't eat much.
Right.
And we didn't really eat many carbohydrates. Days where you're active, Paul's super active, which is why I'm like, Paul, eat some fruit, eat some dates. He walks on average like 22 to 25,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
So Paul is getting the equivalent movement of a hunter-gatherer.
Yeah.
So, and then again too, it's like there's not one size, and this guy wrote a book, and I'm gonna look at the research more because now I need to know. But whenever people come up with the thing and a theory, and then they're doing a book or selling a supplement, my little spidey sense goes off, and I'm like, I gotta look at this a little bit more. So,
I like books though.
but are they doing it to sell a book?
It feels
right?
okay. I get it. Go ahead.
So, it might be legit, but don't run out and go start eating saltine crackers and try to figure it out yet.
You can have one as a test.
Sure. But here's another thing. If people are eating processed, this is where it wouldn't work. They eat processed foods all the time, right?
Yeah.
Their taste buds are not what they should be.
Correct.
Your taste buds change.
Yeah.
Remember when we did the whole 30 for
Yep.
like a whole 90?
Yep.
An apple was like the sweetest thing I've ever had in my life.
Right.
So taste buds change.
Absolutely.
So where this guy's, he's making a blanket statement, potentially, I don't know what his science says, if you eat a high sugar, hyper palatable, high processed diet, your taste buds are trash.
He also found that people process carbohydrates better later in the day than in the morning and lunch. So he recommends eating your carbs at dinner. You're welcome.
Yeah. And again, too, if you are somebody that doesn't have much amylase,
We've been saying that for years.
yeah.
So carry on.
If you're somebody that doesn't have much amylase, again, too, if your digestive enzymes will change
Yep.
when you're eating them more.
Yes.
So if you're somebody that eats more carbohydrates, there's epigenetics, right?
Yes.
We can flip the switches,
Yep.
we can make adjustments versus your DNA is like, this is how you're born.
Yeah.
Gut microbiome changes.
Yes.
I was just telling one of our newer clients, he likes the candy bars and the sweets and the treats and the cookies.
Sure.
And there literally is a little voice. I'm like, that is your gut bacteria. You've been eating this stuff.
Those are the bugs telling you to
The bugs
eat
in your
them.
stomach are craving sugar and they're literally influencing your brain. Feed me sugar. So yeah, many. I don't know if it's one thing. So Paul, the answer, I don't know if it's woo woo or if it's science. It might be somewhere in between.
Well, I like it.
But Paul, eat fruit,
Yeah, Paul.
apples,
don't be afraid,
pears, berries. Don't be afraid. Now, just don't eat processed carbs.
Paul. Yeah.
There we go.
Stay away. White and beige.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
That's
it,
it.
guys.
One more thing.
Oh, one more thing.
And it's good for both of us because we're husband, wife,
Okay,
and
I'm gonna
parents.
go ahead and clean this up. Go ahead.
Just listening to, if you guys don't want to look him up, Jason Khalipa. He was CrossFit Games champion, like really, awesome guy, Northern California. Interviewed by Thomas DeLauer, another huge person in the fitness space, talking about a lot of things, but specifically about when you're on your journey, your nutrition, your exercise, your fitness journey. Jason Khalipa was basically very selfish, and he kind of had to be. It was his profession. He was a professional athlete, working out 4 or 5 hours a day. How many sacrifices that he made as a dad? And he said he would never, ever, ever do that again. He said there were times he was so beat up and so sore, he couldn't go play with his kids. He hurt so bad. So, and it's funny because we coach husbands and wives, and sometimes what I've heard from you is maybe that the guys seem a little selfish on their fitness journey, their weight loss journey, right?
Yeah.
They're very, and not selfish is a bad word, hyper-focused. And that's kind of something that happens when men do physical things, or we really get into stuff, we can hyper-focus.
Yeah.
And I'll say selfish because it's a little more
Sure.
elementary word.
Use it.
Include your children in your fitness journey. And the moms too, like you've always been really great about that, right? Avery's, you would work out next to her.
Yep.
The girls like to work out. They view exercise as fun. We've taught them.
I always
when
wanted
they're-
them to see it as a normal thing, not a thing that I do as punishment for my body.
It's not negative.
No, I just wanted them to always. It's just what mom does.
It's just what we do. We also tell our kids, the human body is designed for lots and lots of movement. That doesn't have to be exercise. It can
No.
be sports or walking or climbing a tree or,
Megan milked a cow.
milking a cow, right? Now, and the same thing. So just include your kids, and our messaging is very important. When we do, and Thomas DeLauer, he was like, I made the mistake, I would eliminate carbs. And I would tell my wife, hey, I can't eat that sweet potato. He was like, I don't say that anymore.
Yeah.
I would just say, oh, no, thank you. Not make it a thing. And he goes, and he actually made the point of where
I'm gonna pass on that.
everybody has to go online and like make the big statements about, oh, I'm eating carnivore, or I'm eating vegan or vegetarian. He was just like, and he's like the nicest guy and doesn't swear. He was like, guys, just stop. Nobody really cares that much.
Nobody cares.
Keep your journey like for you and make it positive. We always tell people when they go to social events, like just tell people, hey, I'm trying to figure out some food allergies, or
How
I
about
don't feel good
just
when I eat
no,
this.
thank you.
Yeah.
When okay, no is a full sentence. No,
Oh man. But what I
No,
find though
thank you.
is,
I'm passing on that.
and that works except for people, then they want to know, well, what are you doing? Why? What's going on? Is everything okay? Or they're like, hey, come on, dude, just eat the cookie. Just eat the cake. Like, oh, really? You're sure? You're sure? They pester. There are many. You can rate your friends by how they react, or family. We've been called the weird ones at times. With our kids too, everything we say is for health. right?
Absolutely.
The exercise, the walk. I mean, there are times where you and I want to go for a walk after dinner, and like, I don't want to go for a walk. And we're like, we move our bodies. That's what we do to be healthy, and we make our kids go for a walk
Oh,
with us.
absolutely. And I don't mean to guilt trip you, but I'll guilt trip the
She
shit
guilt
out
trips.
of
There are
you.
times where I'm like, long day, I'm like, I don't want to go for a
And I'm
walk.
like, really? Because it's so good for your digestive system.
But you know, you kind of look at me sometimes and you add these like really sweet words that are so encouraging. You're like, quit being a little bitch. That's her.
You're welcome.
But I'm the direct one and you're the too nice.
Yeah.
So I think I ate a bug. Can you see your water, please? I think I ate a bug. That was awful. Anyways, the messaging, they're always watching. We said that a few days ago. They're always paying attention.
Yeah.
We're conditioning when they're young, good or bad.
Yeah.
And as long as we talk about, even if you're overweight and trying to lose weight, probably not the best thing to say, I'm just trying to lose weight. I'm trying to, you know, get skinny or whatever, trying to fit in these pants. With our kids, probably more of like, I'm just trying to be healthy.
Yeah.
That's the overall messaging.
I want to be able to do more.
Yeah.
I want to be able to hike harder trails with you and not feel so tired. And here's the thing to really remember too: our children, they will never ask you what size jeans we wear,
Yeah.
but they will ask you why you don't like your body. So, ouch, right?
Yep.
I think that's really important. Like, yeah, they don't care if we can't fit in our jeans. They just know that if we're really upset, they feel it.
I would not use the word diet.
No.
If you ever need to put your kids on a diet, don't use that word. We use better messaging. We just with a client yesterday or a couple days ago, you know, near 40 years old, and was like, I have tons of food issues. And all of these things started when they were young.
Yeah.
So it's like all of those things, you know, I mean, how many Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, like how many moms of our parents' generation put their kids on that, or they saw their moms doing that, and then it just repeats as a cycle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
we do it with our moms.
yeah, and the same thing,
bonding.
like I hate the word skinny. Like skinny doesn't mean healthy.
Triggering to you.
Yeah, skinny's not. I got who was it? Victoria's Secret on one of the social media platforms blocked me because they kept posting pictures of their other models, and I was like, can somebody feed these girls a steak?
Oh, I know.
I
They're
got
probably
blocked.
so hungry.
They look hungry.
Oh.
I just want them to eat their steak.
Okay. So that's your tangent?
That's my tangent. Just your kids are paying attention. Like one of the guys, the dads I was talking to, was like, dude, take your kids for a walk. Like at the end of the day, like I know I get tired, I get grouchy. Walks with children can be a production. We try to have a good attitude because we're making them healthier, and we're modeling. We want to model the behavior.
Yep.
So they typically repeat what they see.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing some push-ups, some jumping jacks, some squats, and I feel like that, you know, dads and sons, that's a really good way to connect, or just going for a walk, throwing the baseball.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's my feelings talk about our children.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add on that. I'm
Cool.
obviously for it. I live it. All right.
All right.
Good deal.
We will catch up with you guys soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.